Hello everyone, this is Ravi Kiran, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Marri Laxman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I hope everybody is doing well. Today, I've come before you to explain you about the lesson Toasted English written by R.K. Narayan. First of all, if we see the life of R.K. Narayan, his full name is Rasipuram Krishna Swami Narayana Swami. He was born on 10th October 1906 and died in the year 2001 on 13th May. He is better known as R.K. Narayan, everybody knows. Not only that, he is the one who created a fictional town called as Malgudi, which is in South India. Many people believe that Malgudi is existing somewhere, but it is not existing, but it is a completely fictional town created by R.K. Narayan, and he is very famous for his fictional town. And not only that, he was the leading author in those days, in his days, along with Mulkraj Anand and Rajarao. Rajarao and Mulkraj Anand are very notable writers in those days. So along with him, R.K. Narayan was also very famous, equally important in those days. And he is the one who has Indianized Indian language. And the same thing he is going to explain us in this lesson, Toasted English. And coming to his novels, R.K. Narayan novels, his famous novels are Swami and His Friends, written in 1935, The Bachelor of Arts in 1937, The Dark Room, written in 1938, The English Teacher in 1945, The Financial Expert in 1952, Waiting for Mahatma in 1955. Among these, The Bachelor of Arts and The English Teacher are his biographical novels. We can find his biographical element in these novels, and we can see how he led his life in those days. We can see in these novels. That's why they are autobiographical novels. Okay. Now, coming to the introduction of the lesson, Toasted English, R.K. Narayan humorously explains about the English language in this. So it's half humorous and half a serious essay. Why it is half humorous? Because there are some humorous elements he explains in this lesson. What he has observed, humorous elements, he explains in this lesson. And at the same time, not only humorous, but a serious topic was discussed in this lesson. That's why it is half humorous and half a serious essay. Not only that, in this lesson, he examines the differences in the English language. See, generally what happens is that English language, it takes different modifications when it explores into different countries. Okay, so how these changes takes place in English language and how it is adapted into their mother tongue, or we can say in their places, he examines all these differences here. Not only that, he offers insightful commentary on the evolution of English language through different cultures. Usually, any language, if you take any language, it is a representation of the culture. And now, English language is surviving in everywhere throughout the world. And how this English language evolves into their cultures. So that is what he explains here. Not only that, he explores the unique ways English evolves into diverse linguistic context. So all these things he is going to explain in this lesson, Toasted English. Especially, he gives the difference between British English and American English. Okay. So here in this lesson, he has observed few things, and that is what he explains. He takes the two cultures here, that is American and British. Okay. So usually, generally what happens is that English refers to British, and but America, the language spoken by the Americans is also English. Language is same, but there is a difference in American English, and that's why, though the language is same, they say British English and American English. There are differences in this. So he explores about all these things, how it is different. The people in America, they have left out, they abandoned the Britishers. Actually, once upon a time, America was ruled by British. But Americans, they fought for their freedom, and they got the freedom, and they have expelled the Britishers from their land. So when they expelled the Britishers from their land, what happened? They rejected their culture, their rules and regulations, but they have accepted one thing. What is that? They have accepted the English language. They have accepted English language. But just as we accepted English language in India, we speak the British English. But Americans did not do that. What they did, they made changes in the language. That's why American English. Okay. So they made some changes in that language. So that is the word toasted English. That means, toasted means to make changes according to our convenience. Generally what happens in every houses, our mothers do the same thing. Do you know that? See, while they cook food, if the taste is not good, immediately our mothers, they are not satisfied. Immediately they'll try to repair that. In general sense, we say doing repairing, isn't it? That means repairing means they make some modifications in the food so that it tastes better. Okay, it suits our taste. In the same way, Americans also, they made some modifications in English language, and the final result is American English. And that is what we can find here. Though American and British English share same common linguistic foundation, that means linguistic foundation means language. They have same language. Americans, they speak English, and even British, they speak English. But they diverge in vocabulary. That means there is a difference. Language is same, similarity, but diverge. Where they diverge? In their vocabulary, in spellings, in pronunciation, and some grammatical structures. Remember, not all the grammatical structures, they have not changed all the grammatical, but very few grammatical structures they have changed. Is that clear? So remember, language, one language, but they made some changes. The difference in their languages, difference in vocabulary, difference in spellings, difference in pronunciation, and very minor grammatical structure changes. So these, sometimes what happens is that because of this, there is some subtlety here, and it may lead to some misunderstandings. So we will find out what are those differences, and we will see here. The key differences in the vocabulary, if you take American English and British English. See, there is a word called as generally we use the word chips, isn't it? Actually, this is British, not British, this is American English. Potato chips we eat, right? So chips we call. Whereas Britishers, they call it as crisps, crispy, crisps. Okay. So that is a difference in the example for differences in the vocabulary. And differences in the spelling. See, Americans use COLOR. Britishers use COLOUR. Okay. So difference in the spellings. In the same way, realize. Americans use Z, Britishers use S. REALI. ZE is American, SE is British. Okay, so all these things. So there are, we can find the key differences, like even in pronunciation also. Even pronunciation generally, Americans pronunciation is rhotic. That means R is pronounced in Americans. Remember, R is pronounced in American English, whereas R is silent in British English. Okay, so we have seen key differences in vocabulary, differences in spelling, and differences in pronunciation. There are, all these are. So Americans, they have modified the English in all these things. Okay, now coming to the British English, coming to the lesson now. Coming to the lesson, if we see lesson, here the meaning of toasting, as I've explained you, toasting involves creatively modifying it for our convenience. Okay, so Americans, they have toasted, they have conveniently, they have modified. We have seen color. If let us take color, COLOUR. Here, if we COLOUR, in this color, U is silent. We can, if you remove U, but same pronunciation will be there, isn't it? So Americans thought it is useless, and that's why they have removed. They have simplified. They have simplified the language. Is that clear? So that is how they have modified themselves. Not only that, Americans, they have simplified using the language also. Britishers, what they do is that they speak in lengthier sentences, whereas Americans, they speak with less sentences. For example, if you take Arkan points out a situation where in Britain, they have seen a signboard. In the signboard, it is written as trespassing is prohibited. Trespassing is prohibited. See here, it is a little bit complicated. When it comes to Americans, simply they say don't walk. That means they very simplified, they talk straight. Okay, so that is how Americans have changed the language. Not only that, Americans use direct language. They refer directly, whereas Britishers, they don't refer directly. They use a passive form of the language. Example, trespassing is prohibited. They don't speak directly, but in passive form they speak. Okay, Americans, they have simplified and they speak short sentences and direct sentences. Okay, is that clear? Not only that, Arkan, he observed some other things also when he was in England. Once he had been to England and he was traveling in a public transportation, that is bus, city bus, we can call simply, we can call it as city bus. While he was traveling in the city bus, he noticed an extraordinary thing. Usually, generally, when we travel in a bus, conductor takes charge money and he gives the ticket, isn't it? Usually here, the conductors, they ask for ticket like that. But in England, it is not like that. There is a strange thing. They are highly polite people. So they think that if they ask directly ticket, they think that it is impoliteness. So that's why they don't ask for ticket. Immediately they'll come and they say thank you. And the passenger gives money. Ticket collector, he gives ticket. Taking money, he gives ticket and say thank you again. That means for every passenger, he says thank you 2 times. And here, that was a strange thing he observed, and Arkanaran humorously says, there is no need to count the number of passengers in the bus. Instead, if we count the number of thank yous, then we will come to know how many passengers are there in the bus. So that is how humorously he explains how polite the Britishers are. Okay. And now, Arkanaran, he suggests that he advocates for adopting English in India also. So he suggests Indians to speak in English, but not just as Britishers speak. In the sense, he says that do not copy the Britishers and speak English like Britishers, because see, every language represents according to their cultures. That means language changes according to the culture of the land. If English comes and exists in our language, in the sense that English has adopted our culture and we should speak English according to our culture. That means we have to modify English according to our circumstances, our climatic conditions and our cultures. He says, just as Americans toasted English, Americans modified English language, in the same manner we also should make changes and we have to speak. That is what he says in the lesson. And not only that, he says that we have to create a brand for the English. That is called Bharat brand. How to create that? That means we have to create or we have to include our native words in English language. That is what we can find even in his novels also. He has Indianized English language. Indianized English language means he has included many Indian words into English. That means it doesn't mean that we should break out the rules of the language. No. Simply, we have to follow the rules of the language. That means, following the rules of the language, we should make some modifications according to our culture. That is what he says. That is how we can create the brand of English, Bharat brand. Just as American English, the same way Indian English. We have to Indianize the English language. That means we have to put the stamp. See, many brands are there. Many companies, they produce many products, different products, clothes or something else. See, for example, if you take a sambar, idli, which we take, immediately we'll have some place in our mind, that is Madras. Madras is famous, that is, it is a brand. isn't it? In the same way, Narayan also explains check shirt to some place. Okay, so in the same way that there is a brand for all these things, in the same way we have to put the stamp, Swadeshi stamp, in English language. That means just we should not follow the Britishers when there is no need to talk as Britishers talk, but we have to put a Swadeshi stamp on here, and we should make a brand that is called as Bharat brand of English. So all these things he says. So concludingly, I say that R.K. Narayan, he offers a fascinating perspective on the evolution and adaptation of English language in various cultural contexts. And now, not only that, he encourages embracing the evolving nature of the language. See, language should be dynamic. It should evolve continuously. Unless a language evolves, it cannot sustain in the society. So day by day, it should evolve, and we should embrace the language, and we should include many words into the language according to our culture and according to our technology. Not only that, he highlights the potential for creating the unique linguistic identity. That means we have to create a brand for ourselves. That is Bharat brand. We put the Swadeshi stamp on this. So this is how he explains, he differentiates, and he gives the importance of creating the brand. That is about the lesson Toasted English, written by R.K. Narayan. I hope you all understood the lesson. Thank you so much. See you again with another video in another lecture. Thank you.